Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with TechBud Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Sunday. Today is December 29th, 6:06 p.m., and welcome to our Sunday Stock Talk. So this is normally when I go live and I break down the top 5 stocks that our viewers see value in. This video is going to be, or this live stream is going to be super short and sweet. We're going to cover 2 stocks that I'm paying attention to this week, and the remaining 3 are going to be ones that you guys decide. So if you ever want to tune on into these live sessions, all you literally have to do is subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and I host these Sunday Stock Talk live streams every single Sunday, right around 6 to 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. I am using the Webull trading application. As you guys can see, there, I have access to overnight hours. If you're also, again, just a little disclaimer, if you're tired of your old and outdated brokerage, if you use Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, Charles Schwab, they don't have access to this, and you want access to it, Webull does have a sign-up bonus right now. They have a promotion going on. I think it's the 5th link in the description of this video, so you can pull up the description. The 5th link is my link, and if you use my link, I get 1 free share. You can earn up to 40 free shares just for signing up by using Webull. So it's the trading application that I use. I love it, and yeah, just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware. But look at what a beautiful sight. MSTR is down 2.73% on the overnight hours, hitting new lows, 320 per share. I mean, I couldn't be happier. We all know that MSTR is a worthless company and just running off of the Bitcoin hype. I'm super excited this week to see if it finally breaks below $300 per share. If we get that break below, I'm ready to short the life out of MSTR. And if you think that this pullback is it, I mean, it's already lost about, 40% of its value from its all-time highs that it peaked at right around $500 per share. Once it breaks below 300, that's going to be right around 45%. I think that this thing can go all the way right back down to $100 per share. So obviously, it's all dependent on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is bullish, this thing can continue to rally. But if Bitcoin is bearish, as it tends to be right now, right? You guys have been able to see the current performance. We hit low of 92,800 today. Bitcoin does have a support right around that 90,000 range. So we haven't been able to break support. There's no reason to celebrate. There's no reason to get super excited. But I wanted to share with you the one stock that I'm really looking forward to shorting this week, if the opportunity presents itself, is MSTR. I don't have an active short position. I like to close out my trades every single day. I know that shorting MSTR is incredibly risky, and you have to respect that, right? MSTR is an incredibly risky company because it's extremely volatile. So it's not designed for beginners. Please do not just try to copy what it is that I'm doing blindly. You need to learn how to walk before you run. But this is the one stock that I am paying attention to this week. And depending on how Bitcoin begins to trade, as of right now, it looks like it's bearish. So we are already seeing MSTR down 2.73% on the extended hours. So I'm looking at everything as of right now, and everything looks pretty bearish. I mean, not crazy amounts, but it looks a little bearish. If we look at this, this is QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 1-for-1 ETF. So this can kind of give you a better sense of direction of where the overall market is right now. Overall market is down about 0.07%. That means goose egg. It means nothing, because the market might be a little down right now. It could begin to recover by the time the market opens at market open, right? So I don't like to get too excited of, oh, look, market looks bearish. No, right? Markets did pull back last week. We're testing right around that moving average. I would love to see a break of support. So seeing the NASDAQ market break below the moving average on the 4-hour time frame. We need to wait for confirmation. There's no reason to get excited. There's no reason to make up your own bias on what the market needs to do this week. And this is why I love the ability to trade, right? Is you get to really seek opportunity based off of what the market is presenting. So if we see that selling pressure begin to present itself, then yeah, let's short the market, but price action needs to support it. If markets begin to recover, again, let's not be super biased. And if markets do begin to recover, then let's not be afraid to take advantage of those opportunities as long as price action supports it, right? I think that's a very level-headed way to be able to approach that market, unless it's MSTR. MSTR is a shitty stock. Just kidding. The second stock that I'm going to be paying attention to this week, and this is, again, an incredibly risky stock. I want to see if SoUN, which is SoundHound AI, it's a bullshit AI company that's super hyped up right now. It's gone from lows of, what is that, $3 per share all the way to highs of $25, and it's been pumping. You could see its recent volume. It's been pumping week after week after week. So can it still pump? The simple answer is yes, but I want to wait for this thing to crash, because eventually, we've all seen it in the past, where all this thing eventually does is it quickly pumps and then it dumps. It pumps and then it dumps. It pumps and then it dumps. It's not an if this thing will dump. It's just, again, once the hype begins to fade and the stock begins to peak, just like we saw with MSTR. MSTR is a great example of this. Once the hype fades, then the correction follows, right? Just like we saw with SMCI. Once the pump fades, the rest will follow. So this is a great example of what I see for MSTR's future. It was incredibly bullish for a short period of time. People thought that this stock was, again, the next NVIDIA, and then all of a sudden it begins to correct itself. I think the same thing is going to happen already happening with MSTR, and SoUN is even shittier, right? It's more of a worthless company. But this is one that I'm really paying attention to. I want to pay attention to price action and to see if we actually see corrections down to the EMA and a potential reversal. Let me make this very clear. SoUN is still bullish. On the 4-hour time frame, it's far above the moving average and far above the EMA. Price action, regardless of the indicators, are still bullish. Price action does not support the idea of shorting this, because on the larger time frames, as it's still incredibly bullish, meaning that it's not really correcting itself. It's not pulling on back. You can see that it's kind of just holding here at that $23, $24 price range. This makes it incredibly risky when you open up a short position and there is no progress on the downside. So please be aware that the pump can still continue to pump regardless if it is a worthless company. It's all about how relevant it is. We all know that eventually it will correct itself, but this is where it pays to be patient. Let this thing run as much as it needs to. Add it to your watch list if you see value in it, and then we set those alerts. So if it does begin to show signs of a reversal, this is the part that really excites me, because we saw in its past, every single time that it pumps, it dumps. It pumps, it dumps, right? This is the part that excites me. On the 4-hour time frame, it's very easy to see, even with current highs, if it does end up correcting itself, there's huge downside, over 70%. So I don't need to be early to short SoUN. I don't need to be early. There's huge margins to work with, even if I capture 10% of that. I would love that, right? I don't need to capture every candle. I'm not a perfect trader, and there are many times that I'm going to need to wait for confirmation to make sure that I feel confident to short this stock. And that's fine, right? Put yourself in a position in which you can tolerate. So those are the two stocks that I'm going to be paying attention to this week to possibly short, while also paying attention to the overall NASDAQ market and seeing where the price action takes us. Again, as of right now, big picture, markets are still bullish. We are seeing slight retracements, but again, overall, markets are still bullish with a slight retracement down to the moving average. So now that we are aware of that, what stocks would you guys like me to break down? So if you're tuning on in live, all I ask you to do is share your top stock with me, and would love to break it down for you. So we're talking about stocks. We're not talking about crypto. I don't trade crypto. The only reason that I've been making videos about Bitcoin is because I've been shorting MSTR, and MSTR's MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy's focus is investing in Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin crashes, then MicroStrategy will crash. That's the only correlation. I don't care about XRP. I think it's a shit coin that is going to be worth nothing eventually when Bitcoin crashes. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. But just like any, hyped up meme coin, it pumps up while Bitcoin is bullish. And as soon as Bitcoin turns bearish, then all those meme coins begin to drop. Again, that's my 2 cents. You don't have to agree with me. It's just not my cup of tea. I don't care to expose myself to that kind of risk, especially when it went from 30 cents or 50 cents per coin all the way up to $2.80 per coin. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Ricky, can you check out BA? I'm considering going long. It's been bullish since hitting lows of 138. What's going on, Tofi? So yeah, BA is Boeing, right? And we've been watching Boeing. Look at that. Overnight hours shows that Boeing is down 3.77%. So this is going to be something that you might want to look into. On the 4-hour time frame, remember, I'm not here to convince you to do or to not do whatever it is that you want to do, right? But we can see that it has had a really nice rally, but it's been incredibly bearish since its highs, right? It does have these nice little rallies where it tries to move up to the moving average and then it retraces. The thing that I would hate for you to do, just like any trader, is that you try to buy right now thinking that it's going to begin to recover, but then all it does is it's overbought and it begins to retrace. So you just bought at the highest level before it got rejected. So that's just kind of the uncertainty with that is, what's causing it to sell off right now? 3.66%. So there has to be, I don't know if it was the accident that happened over the weekend that is causing more selling pressure. I do see why you're paying attention to it because it's been incredibly oversold, big picture, right, to go long on it. And obviously there's recovery potential based off of previous highs. So I see the why. My only concern would be that this rally is short-lived, that it peaks here and then it begins to retrace. I think a great step that I could possibly take, that I would take myself, is that during this rally and we're seeing a slight little retracement, to see if it establishes a higher low, to see if it holds its ground and then begins to recover from there. If you see that it begins to sell off and all it begins and continues to do is make lower lows and lower highs, again, that's not going to be a very favorable position to be in. So instead of hoping that this thing just naturally begins to recover, you also have to be open to the idea of this could just possibly be a lower high. We could get rejected here and then sell back off to continue to make new lows. So again, the thing that I would pay attention to is look out for a retracement and not be afraid of pullbacks. Pullbacks are part of the game, right? But when it does pull back, that it forms a higher low, indicating that it's actually showing signs of progress on the upside. That would support the case that, hey, this thing is actually improving and price action and demand is actually supporting the case that Boeing is, showing progress on the upside. So that's my 2 cents. You let me know what it is that you think. Again, if you want to invest in this long term, please be my guest. That's just the step that I would take to be a little bit cautious at these overbought levels. Let me go ahead and break down 2 more stocks. If you want me to break down your stock, all I literally ask you to do is drop a thumbs up on this video and share your top stock in that live chat. Would love to break down any stock for you. So hey, Ricky, can you take a look at REGN? It had a super large sell-off recently, looking for support. So REGN. All right, so I'm not huge on pharmaceutical companies. I've had really bad experiences with those. That's just my 2 cents. I do see what you're paying attention to. I would first look into the fundamentals of what caused this sell-off. What changed, September 20th. So I don't know if this is when it reported earnings, but it looks like that was the beginning of its downfall. And ever since then, there has not been a break of pattern on the upside. It's tried to recover, but it formed a lower high and then got rejected. So again, this is my 2 cents. This is something that I always try to preach to our LPP team is there's no reason on why you need to find the need to buy something at the lowest price. If that's always your focus, you'll eventually end up burning yourself more than you will succeed, at least in my experience. I think what is most important is for this to begin to do something that it has not been doing. Since that sell-off, we've been getting rejected by that EMA. We have not made progress above that EMA. So you can set an alert. Hey, if this thing begins to trade above $800, I can revisit the stock and see if it's actually indicating signs of a recovery. Not because I think it's recovering, but because it's actually showing that it is trying to. And then at that point, again, if it makes progress on the upside, you can open up a small position or, that's what I would look for. I would open up a small position and maybe add more to it if direction and price action supports it. But at least at that point, you don't have to try to buy the dip into something, hope that it recovers, forms a lower high, and then it just gets rejected and makes new lows. This is called, right, it's a very simple setup. It's a falling knife. Lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. It's a continuous descending pattern. And more often than not, you can really put yourself in some hot water when you try to find the bottom of a stock, because although it looks cheap at 700, 500 is even cheaper, and it's been there before. So again, the thing that I think makes most sense is instead of hoping for something to happen, wait for it to present itself. This is when we talk about waiting for confirmation. Make sure that price action and direction are in your favor, showing signs of higher highs and higher lows. So at least, again, it's called like dancing with the market. You're going with the trend instead of against it. Just like I explained, I'm looking to short SOUN. It wouldn't really make sense for me to enter a short on SOUN if this thing is still bullish as a swing trade, right? But if this thing begins to trade below the EMA and begins to actively sell off, then hey, right, now that changes. There's a break of pattern. This thing is now actively selling off, and now I can justify, as more of my criteria is being met, to enter an active short as a swing trade on an overbought stock that offers huge downside. But again, it's not because I hoped for something to happen. It's I identified an opportunity, I created my criteria that needed to be met, and then once it is met, then I can follow accordingly with proper position size and execution and how I see fit, right? I would say it would be a very similar setup to something like this. This is great that you found a cheap stock that has performed well in the past before, but it's not now. So instead of hoping for something to happen, I would rather wait for something to actually present itself. That's just my 2 cents. You guys let me know what you think. So let me go ahead and break down how many have I done so far. We talked about this one. Let's do 2 more. Is that cool? 2 more stocks? All right, if you want me to break down your stock, like I said, all I ask you to do is drop a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to the channel and share your top stock here in that live chat. All right, Daniel Rojas, what's going on, brother? You're asking for me to break down PayPal. What is that? PYPL. All right, PayPal's kind of been the struggle bus lately, right? So on the 4-hour time frame, it looks nice with the higher highs and higher lows, but if you look at the day chart, it paints a very different picture. Maybe it's just me, but again, we're approaching previous highs that we've had in the past before. That's right around $100 per share. The question that I always like to ask myself is, what's my profit potential versus my risk potential or risk exposure? And although it's had a really nice rally, there is no break of pattern yet, but it's lingering here right around that EMA. And if we break below that EMA, we have all of this downside exposure. And again, well, what's my profit potential? Well, based off of previous highs, that's going to be right around $100. So I could potentially make $15 to $100 based off previous highs, and I could potentially lose $30. Well, that risk to reward doesn't really make sense. That's kind of the pickle that I would kind of see to put myself in if I were to be considering PayPal right now. My thing with this is I like that you're at least focusing on a stock that in the short term, it's been bullish. It's been, showing signs of higher highs and higher lows. And I hope, just like we've seen the retracements in the past before, that it finds its support and begins to recover. And we talk about that in the LPP course, right? 3 stages of a reversal: rejection, consolidation, but then you wait for confirmation. So I see why this is potentially, of interest to you. My big thing here is it is overbought enough that I just hope you take downside exposure into consideration. It shouldn't scare you. It should just encourage you that if you do choose to take a trade to go long, that you create a plan B to manage and mitigate risk. That's all I want, right? That's all I want to ever encourage you to do, because I wish someone, when I first started, wouldn't just sell me the dream of, hey, this is how much money you can make, but also always take into consideration how much money you could potentially lose. It's one of the biggest feedbacks that I get from LPP and all of my students is some people on YouTube view me as a Debbie Downer because I talk about downside risk so often, but I feel like it's needed for a beginner, right? It is our job to drill that into a beginner's head that not every trade, mostly not every trade, is just about profit. Making money is the easy part in this market. Learning how to keep it and not give it back is the hard part, at least in my experience. I can't speak for you, but I know that for everyone that ends up joining my LPP team, that is kind of the motto that I want to lead by. I would rather be someone that talks about risk rather than someone that pretends that it doesn't actually exist. You let me know what you think on that. But I like the setup. I like the reversal opportunity. It is in that early stage of a potential reversal. There is no confirmation of this thing recovering just yet, but I can see why you're paying attention to it based off of its past and how it's recovered in the past before. My big thing is, okay, well, where would you manage and mitigate risk, and make sure you set that in place when you do take that trade. So I'm going to do one more stock. Again, if you want me to break down your stock, all I ask you to do is drop a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share your top stock in that live chat. What is it going to be? Let's see it. Let's see it in that live chat. All right. MU. All right, let's see if this is a good one. If it's not a good one, we'll do another one. I don't like this one, and the reason why MU has not been performing the best, it's been in this consolidation phase. And again, it's just my 2 cents on it. Consistent support here right around $80, $90 per share. I see why you're paying attention to it because, again, just like any reversal, I love trading reversals, oversold and overbought. I could see why you could potentially want to buy here to potentially sell at $110 per share based off of previous lows and highs, lows and highs, lows and potentially highs. We just don't have confirmation of that recovery yet. Again, this takes a very specific kind of trader that knows how to enter a trade, take profits, but also mitigate risk if things begin to go south. So I like the setup, but I just hope that you're experienced enough to be able to manage it. That's my only 2 cents on that. Big picture, if it's to go long, we don't have that. We haven't been able to break above $115 per share. It's been, again, consolidating within that range. And possibly to short it, then I would set an alert for the break below $80 and to see if it actively breaks it. But MU has been cheap for some time. I wouldn't see there to be a reason on why it would need to continue to sell off again, unless earnings just ends up being something that was not expected. But let me do one more stock, one more. Who else? It's called Mo. That's the stock. This? Is this what you're saying? Okay. All right. So right off the bat, I can tell that this thing has low volume. I do not like trading stocks with low volume. And it doesn't seem like you're talking about this as a trade. You're possibly talking about this as a long-term investment. I feel like with this, and again, it's just the way that I'm wired and it's just my 2 cents. I think I'm not speaking for you, for me. I've missed the train on this one. It's incredibly overbought big picture. It has huge downside exposure. And it is in a potentially early stage of a reversal. I see that. It pulled on back, consolidating, it could potentially recover. I see that. Don't get me wrong. You still need to wait for confirmation of a reversal, right? There's recovery potential there, 8%, but downside exposure is so much greater. And because of that, I couldn't find myself to want to go long on this. Again, that's me. That's not you. So I appreciate you taking time and sharing that with me, but I'm just explaining to you my why on why I couldn't see myself going long on this. It's kind of like the NASDAQ market right now. I couldn't see myself going long on any of those positions that are at all-time highs right now as a long-term investment. Well, why? Because understanding bull and bear cycles, they're 1 to 2 years in between. Meaning that we go through these bull runs and then there's a correction that happens. I like buying during those corrections. I like selling close to all-time highs. And because of that, it just wouldn't be in my best interest to be super invested at these overbought levels. And then if markets correct themselves, that I have no cash to be able to buy the dip on. I would rather be light at these overbought levels, wait for an opportunity to present itself, and then load up on simple blue chip companies that I see value in and make money as they begin to recover. That's the way that I like to approach the market. That doesn't need to be the way that you choose to approach it. That's why I've been, so motivated by shorting the market, because again, I do want markets to drop, not because I want to see every company fail, but because I would love to go in long term on a lot of these companies. They're just extremely overvalued in the short term. So I need to make sure that I put myself in a favorable position to succeed by not buying into the hype when everyone else is. That's the way that I see it. You guys let me know what you think. But other than that, again, I appreciate you guys spending time with me this Sunday. This was our Sunday Stock Talk. I go live like this every single Sunday right around 6 to 6:30 p.m. I do trade live every morning, and I just want to remind you, for all those that are tuning on in that have watched me trade live before or want to, our $1 a day sale for LPP is coming to an end. So it's going to end at the end of this year. So you have, I think, 2 days left to take advantage of our sale. You can sign up and watch me trade live every single day, and it breaks down to $1 per day with the current sale we have going on. It's the second link in the description of this video, so you can refresh this video. Second link in the description down below, and you can sign up. It's a one-time payment, lifetime access, and you'll get to be able to watch me trade live every single day. You also get access to the LPP lesson library that's designed for complete beginners. If you have any questions about it, just comment on this video. If not, second link down below, and I'll see you tomorrow at Market Open for our live trading session. Also, again, I'm using the Webull trading application, and it's the 5th link in the description down below. If you have, I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll be in the live trading session tomorrow. I hope to see you there. So thank you guys again so much. I hope and wish you guys an amazing Sunday. I appreciate your time. Hope that earned a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing. And like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take